Okay, so I think since I've last made a video, I've inked um, Valentine's face here. I might rework it. It looks like a smartass, but with the lighting, and I kind of wanted his like head back a little with a smirk and stuff. It makes him look a little tougher than he is. Although he is tough, he's more of a scrapper tough. He looks a little too jaw tough here. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll think about it later. Um, I've also been working more on Jagger over here. Mostly, I went from this is what you last saw, and I want to tighten it up before I go to ink, so I'll lower the opacity quite a bit. Um, After I lower the opacity, then I make another layer with a light black, or just I lower the opacity on this one pen, so it's kind of like a pencil, And that's when I just start going over all the details and tightening up these details, like the gun. Went to a bunch of wrinkles in her shirt, the costume stuff. I really had fun doing the folds and wrinkles in her jacket here. Also, it was a real interesting game. I want Jagger to be quote sexy on the cover, but I'm not known as a drawing a bunch of sexy character types. And a lot of times it has to do with the character. The characters often are sexy already just by being who they are. I wrote Red Sonja for a while, and she's already in a bikini. You don't need her leaning forward or in some sort of weird position. Uh, and I was thoughtful on that here too, not to emphasize or de-emphasize. Anyway, it's just something on my mind. It's the way I approach this kind of stuff. Not to make a big deal out of it or anything, but it's like, you know, give her some rump, but not too much, and all this kind of stuff. Just be careful of how I'm portraying the character. Especially on the cover, you want it to sell, sex sells, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want it to be ridiculous. And that's mostly because I don't do that stuff very well. I'm on the right there. Okay. And there's a time and place for everything. And you see it in Powers with times where we'll go all out, but that's when we feel like it's called for. That's some stupid babbling. Anyway, look at me trying to draw a thumb. Oh, there you go. There's the shape. I might bust out SketchUp later, Google SketchUp, to help me draw this gun more accurately. Maybe. It's tough to tell with my style sometimes because it's abstract, it's cartoony. It's not as cartoony as it used to be. It's not. I'm not quite in the Bruce Timm adventure style stuff anymore. Even when I try to, it's really weird. Um, yeah, there are times where I'm consciously trying to be more cartoony because that's something I don't want to lose. And then I don't know, so much of like art style and influence and stuff is in the head, and you just can't tell. I'll talk to this with my editors and Taki quite a bit, and she'll tell me, generally, no matter how I'm drawing something, people tend to tell that it's me, um, which I'll take as a great compliment. Um, and whether I'm inking something analog or digitally or quote rougher or more realistic or whatever, generally I think I'm one of the few people who can see it. It doesn't seem to translate for other people, um, which is a good thing, but I should stop thinking about it so much. All right, so there's our sexy but not too sexy Jagger Rose. Now I have another layer way up here for the inks. Um, I make one more layer just above it to ink Jagger here. When I'm using Clip Studio on my Cintiq here, it's different than when I use it on my my iPad. They just have different feels to them. There's a different quality of line. I can't explain why I want one versus the other. I want the Murder Inc. stuff to feel a little more of my Alex Toth, a little more of my Steve Root influence. So I kind of like to ink here digitally when I can, because the line isn't quite as sharp, even with the same tools and same brushes. And I don't know why. Maybe because this is older and it underperforms, but in a way that's advantageous. I don't know. So one of the things that I do is, you'll see over here is the stabilizer. And what this does is it helps keep your line straighter. Like this is a line without the stabilization, it goes really fast. But if I turn it way up, it smooths, it stops it from being wiggly and stuff. One of the reasons that's important isn't, I mean, I have a lot of really good brush control, but I'm still drawing on like glass here. I have Paper Lake on it, which is like this film that you put over the screen to make it feel like paper, but it's just not the same. Like it gives you some resistance and stuff, but it's not the same as being able to feel your brush doesn't dig into the paper, but a pen does. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's a difference in it. So I find that using the stabilizer helps me quite a bit here. Lower its opacity a little bit more. But I also don't want it to be too strong, because then it gets artificial and doesn't feel loose enough and lose some life, All right, so I'm just going to go right into drawing the gun here. There's going to be like a muzzle flash over the gun, so the details won't all be that important. But I'm also trying to show the recoil of the gun a bit. When a gun fires the top of it, kind of, if it's this kind of gun, not a revolver, it pushes back. You'll see in the other gun. I'm not sure if this will translate at all. Another thing I like digitally is I could do this, right? I can just keep doing a line until I get it right. Here's what's fun with my abstractness. Like the gun sight here is just these little blobs. They're not like, I don't have to draw like the H shape back here and like the perfect indentation and all that. Don't want to do that. Touch that up. When I'm inking here, I like to get, this is getting some fun stuff with the inking. This will be, I love going thin to heavy, thin to heavy. And that really helps just emphasize shape and form and dimension. And it gives things weight. Oh, I might sneeze. Warning. All right, here's the sleeve of the jacket with the cuff. I want to give it some weight. I can't always explain to you why there's weight at the top and bottom and not, but I'll do what I can. I also like to try and give, you see, like here and here and here. When I make a turn, I don't make it totally smooth and totally round. I try to give it just this little bit of edge, a little sharp turn. And that gives a sense of energy and a sense of movement that it wouldn't have if it was just a perfect little round shape. I'm often trying to just imitate what my pen would do in paper. So like here, this is like sort of the outline of the cuff or seam. And I'm trying to imitate that feeling of like if I was using a ballpoint pen and it's digging in a little as it's turning on the page, See, and here's the danger: is like this is too smooth. This just looks lifeless to me, and that has to do with the stabilization. So let's try it again. There we go. And all I did was like as I'm moving, I did a quick pause with a slight change of pressure to it, and it just gives, I don't know, gives it better life than if it was this. Any program can do that. Any person can do that. Any use of like not Photoshop. What's the other one? I'm forgetting the name of it, but it like works all in vectors, and like you just get these perfect lines every time. And perfect lines, not everybody can pull them off and make it look great. Believe it or not, sometimes it feels a little lifeless. To me, I want to emphasize that. So here I'm trying to emphasize the fold some, so it's so thicker here, it gets thinner here, and now as you get to the under part of the breast, it goes thick to thin again. And also having the lines overlap a little bit here on folds, it just gives a sense of dimension. There we go. All right, so I'm just looking for the thicker thinness of here. I could simply do a bold outline like that. Frank Cho or Adam Hughes. So many artists do this great. I've never felt comfortable with it. I just can't pull it off. I don't know why. So again, thick. It's weird that like this could be thinner because it's up higher. There's probably more light hitting it than here. But if I want to go from thin to thick here, I want to give some variation, and it also gives a sense of like emphasis here, like under her rib, because her ribs are sticking out as she's running, or whatever part of the Mike Hawthorne could name this part of the body. I can't. So thicker line here works pretty well, I think, to just sort of emphasize that this is coming out. Gets thinner as it comes down. A little bit of overlap. A little bit of belly and pants here. Do I like that? Not really. And sometimes I don't know exactly what line I want, so I'll just sort of hit it a bunch of different times until something looks cool. Again, one of the advantages of working digitally. I like this little imperfect thing. Let's try. I think I like that. So here with the belt, a little thinner on the top part of the belt, and then thicker on the inside of the loop. Let's go back. Here we go again. I want it to be thicker here and thinner up here, just to give a sense that this is moving back towards the deeper side of her hip. Like that. I don't want to put too much variation here because it's a belt, and I don't know why I feel that way, but there you go. Some things I can't explain exactly. It's just more of a vague feeling of why something would work or not work. Having fun with the folds here. Again, overlaying some of the folds on top of the other lines to give it a sense of depth. Seams in the pants is going to be fun. Here's the pocket. And then I'm putting a little thicker part of the pocket here since there's these buttons. And it gives it a sense of like it's lifting up a little, And there's little creases here, little seams. I'm using the same size brush here. I use a pretty large with a 50. I'm working at 600 DPI, so I can still get like really good variation here. I could go thicker or thinner. We'll see down the line, like, because the other parts of these covers are going to be smaller and in more detail. But for now, these nice big chunky brush is what I want. And I give the pocket a little warp here, just a sense of, her torso is twisting, her leg is twisting. As it's twisting, it's like moving around the fabrics. All right, I'm happy with that. I try and keep things really smooth. So another artist who would be more detail oriented, like a buddy Mike Hawthorne or Adam Hughes, would probably show the variation in the wrinkles and how it's affecting the outline. But I like to try and keep mine to feel kind of from my old really super cartoony animated days. It's just keep the outlines as smooth as possible, because it just helps increase the silhouette without breaking the form or shape. That's my thought process anyway. It's the seam. Meh. Need some more detail on this. Let's get a little closer. There we go. And even though I can get really close in here, I try not to get too close, because that's when you can like over detail stuff. I'm being dangerous with that, even with these folds. It's a little too detailed for me, a little bit, but it's a cover, so you know, I'm just trying to make it as commercially viable while still being me as possible. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Yeah, something right here. I'm not too crazy about that, but I'm going to leave it for now, because I just want to keep moving and not overthink everything. Speaking of overthinking things, here comes her butt. Let's make it look cool, but not like that. Yeah. All right, she looks pretty cool. Cool without like getting overly sexy and looking goofy. There we go. Yeah, I want to really emphasize the weight of her leg. You know, she's not like a super thin character. So I want to feel like when she's running, you can kind of hear her like thump, 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 because she's got power behind her and a little weight. You know, a lot of the stuff I'm saying here is just kind of coming out of my id, because you know, I'm concentrating on the art and the lines as I'm speaking. So I apologize if anything I say just sounds stupid. All right. Seems the boots are really fun. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with the boots here. If they're going to be, I guess they'll be black on the outside with highlights on the inside, instead of black in the middle with highlights all around the edges. I don't know. First, I'll just do some of these wrinkles here. That doesn't feel right. And that looked like somebody else's lines. All right, so I kind of want to emphasize this kind of coming in and coming out. So it's a little heavier there, a little lighter, and then darker or heavier. There we go. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm happy with that. I guess. I don't know. It feels a little too much. All right, so let's get into some more of these wrinkles here. I tell you, sometimes I really, really struggle with the folds and clothes, but I gotta say, I'm happy with this. I'm very happy with the way this is coming about, because I'm usually not. I usually just feel like I'm doing fake lines that sort of represent what a better artist would do when it comes to foldings. To give her little tiny studs on her belt here. There's going to be some dirt and blood on her too, because we want to see her sort of evolve over these covers from wild assassin to mob boss. Mob boss. All right. Collar shirt. It's going to be closer to her skin up here and up here than in the middle. So it's going to go light, darker, light. Have fun with this seam. The seam is really going to help sort of express the form. Of her twisting torso. That's not necessary. I don't know. Seam along the bottom of her jacket. Just kind of help you track where it is. So this is what I call the coloring. Fuck. There you go. The coloring book pass. So there's not a lot of like heavy shadows and stuff yet. It's just going to be most of these outlines. When I'm done, then I'll figure out like, do I want to have like a heavy blackness under here? Because if I do, it affects like I was originally thinking I want this black shadow here. But if I fill that in, now the border of her jacket or of her sleeve here, it moves from here to here. And that changes how thick it is and where your eye stops when you're looking or absorbing the shape of it. So we'll deal with that later. Jacket, I'm doing a lot of these sort of quick movements. It gives it a sense of, I don't know, like a little flair to the line instead of it just being this perfect. Actually, that's not good. Oops. There we go. That feels better. That's not bad. I can live with that. And here's the fun and scary part. Let's get to her face. Well, I kind of have like the light coming in from this side, coming down, so you can see the shadow. But even though she's firing her gun here, but you know, it's comic books, so I don't believe in perfect abstract, or you know, it's not film. It's not film. Let's put it that way. And you want to think about things like light sources and stuff, but remember, you are the boss. The light sources aren't. So put a little extra shade under here. I was trying to give her just a bit of skin under her neck and chin there. I think that works. Makes her feel a little more fleshy. Like, I don't imagine Jagger, even in her like toughest form, being like rock solid. You know, Dina was a little more wiry, a little more skin and bones and muscle. Jagger's also got, nobody's ever really commented on this. I made sure that she's got a larger nose. Being from Jersey, there was a lot of Italian girls who had these specific features that I'm trying to capture on Jagger. And because specifically I don't see them very often in comics. And I'm just assuming Jagger is Italian because of the nature of the book. But that's not something that we made into law here either. Again, I'm speaking subconscious for my id here, so I apologize. Any of this stuff is just stupid. Yeah, I want to see more big noses in comics. I was thinking Jagger should probably have like earrings or something, but I'm almost thinking she doesn't want to accidentally have one pop out during a job and leave some evidence behind, you know? Here's the tricky part. We're firing a gun, but also giving just a little bit of a smirk. A little smart ass. The hair is more fun, or more okay. Although I don't like this. It's more okay for it to have these more perfect lines. The reason I don't like this is because this doesn't feel. This feels like a cheat. Like, this doesn't feel like this part of the hair is on top of this part of the hair, or this part isn't. Like, there's no sense of depth there. So there we go. I'm not too crazy about this either, but it's going to get kind of covered up with the gun flash. And then her hair is two-toned. And I'm kind of just making a wild guess here how that would feel, right? I think that'll look good. Well, Taki will fix it. No, I'm surprised. I was pretty happy with this face off the bat. Not so much with this eye. I might have to play around with it. It doesn't quite feel right. Big wild eyes. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's just do a couple of lines of her hair. Now, because her hair is two-tone, I'm choosing to really only put these lines on one side of her hair, which is the bottom part where I think it's more purple. It's a little darker, I think. I don't know if I like these two lines here or not. I'm going to let them stay, see how I feel about it later. The other thing that helps is to look at this reversed. I'm kind of afraid to reverse it because the file is so fucking big right now. Like if I save it right now, so it's going to take forever to save. I probably should save it just in case. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to save this. It's going to take a minute. While that's saving, see the screen's gone black. Everything's okay. We're all right here. This is just taking a while for it to save because this is 6 covers at 600 DPI. This is pretty huge. So why don't we take this moment? Oh, here we go. Never mind. I was going to say, we take this moment of silence in memory of some of the characters who have passed in Murder Inc. Sorry, I'm having an apple. We're almost done here for tonight. I'm just going to do, like I said, just the outline part. Tomorrow I'll record shadows. I'll do another overlay layer, which I'll do at a lower opacity, so it's kind of gray, and just loosely spot the black. See what I like, see what I don't like, and from there, go ahead and finish her up. And then I'll show you in Photoshop how I finished the background. Boy, I do not like Val's face here. That I realize. I'm going to have to rework his face. All right. Here we go. Back into it. Did I look out there? No. That looks all right. Jacket. Oops. See how collars come up here, so I have to imagine it's coming back down. Just give it a little emphasis here. A little light to heavy. There we go. Show her seam there. All right, this just turned out good. All right, now I'm going to try to do one big long line here. Just give a little more weight. There we go. I'm also listening to music this whole time. I'm a pretty compulsive music listener when I'm working. Listen to a lot of podcasts too. Music is all over the place. Right now I'm listening just to my Pandora station with a bunch of too many DJs and old stuff like that. All right, let's see. So close, guys. Yep, Jagger's got those Fred Flintstone, Jack Kirby fingers. That's just how I roll. Oh, I apologize. That sounds stupid. Like I said, I'm doing a couple things here at once. So I can't always watch what my dumb mouth is saying. Alright, after this, I'm going to go downstairs. Taki and I are going to play some. Well, she's playing Witcher 3 right now. Old school stuff. It's really fun. I hadn't played it before, so. Really, all video games are just me waiting to go back to playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I only play other games so I could take a break from that and get back to it because it's like you're just living in the Greek world. I love it. I am babbling. Okay. Gun. I'm just faking it. I'm not going to look up a real gun. For a while, I was trying to just not draw guns on covers anymore for obvious reasons. But this is fantasy. And it's part of this world. This world we created here, I mean. If you notice, I've not done much actual rendering here at all. Rendering meaning something like this, where I'm shading something. This is just because the gun is flying backwards as the cartridge ejects. Gun feels a little sloppy, but you know what? It's because I'm tired. I could feel it. I'm feeling tired. It's too late to have coffee. Well, I can tell you, I can have coffee pretty late. Still sleep. The gun's okay. This is fine. At least for now. I can go back and improve it later. It looks a little basic. And then again, we're going to have... Well, I'll do this later. I think we're at a good spot here. This meaning the gun shells popping out. Again, it helps give like a sense of motion. So here we are. This is without doing the black yet. This is just seeing the inks for the inks. You know, I think we're off to a good start here. Gonna redo his face. Looks weird. In fact, here, let's do this. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. Yeah, she looks really cool. I'm happy with it. Yeah. I don't know. No, actually, I look at it now backwards. Like this line here under her breast almost looks like it's going over it before the under part, but we'll play around with that with what do you call it? Once we're putting the black, I think her eyeball here is a little too close to the center as well, so I'll probably move that over. But I'm not going to do it now. I'll just remember that. It's weird. I have a horrible, horrible memory, except for stuff like art. Like now, that's all I see. All I see is how that's not quite working, and I don't know. Maybe it just looked weird the other way. It doesn't look so weird here. Like it still looks like her chest is coming around here fine. When I reversed it, for some reason, it looked like... Oh, that's probably because the eye goes from left to right. So, shit, it doesn't work that way. So this shape kind of looked like it was cutting through the torso in a way that it doesn't when it's going this way, when it's going from left to right. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody but me. All right. Let's erase this part. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good for now. This is a good start. All right. And you got Jagger inked. And keep in mind this is a double cover, so you know we're not going to see over here is going to be gone. It's just going to be That's what it's going to look like on the cover. But I think that's totally going to work because the wanted poster is going to bleed off of here as well. There's some elements on the second page that might come over here. So yeah, and she's reaching out over here, which insinuates that the action keeps moving. So I think this is going to be good. I think so. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.